Hey guys, welcome back to Chickadee Farm. Today, you might be able to tell we are actually in my office because I'm getting ready to do my editing for the video that's going to come out, well, as you're watching it right now, about our big garden reset project. And when I filmed all of these little bits and pieces, because they happened on multiple days, I didn't actually film any kind of intro. So that is what this is right now. So if you've watched any of my other videos, especially my recent ones, you'll know that we have some pretty big plans for our 2024 garden. And we wanted to get some of those projects done this kind of fall, early winter, before the ground froze and the snow came, so that when spring hits, we'd have at least some of it done. And they were things that we could get done, mostly ourselves. So we start out actually with right as I finished planting my garlic. And you might have remembered that we had a whole bunch of that really big, heavy pipe fencing around a big chunk of the garden. And all of that needed to get moved. So as I was planting my garlic, David had actually come out and started moving, disassembling and moving all of that fencing. So that's what the first part is. And then the second big project that we needed to get done was to move all of the beds, because none of them are going to be in the same place that they currently are. So they needed to get moved out of the way. And part of the reason they needed to get moved out of the way was because we are also moving some water lines, which required us to have an excavator come out and dig some very, very deep holes. So I also got some of that on video. And then along with moving the beds, I also had a whole bunch of strawberries, you might remember, around my garlic bed, which literally is in the smack middle of where the excavator was going to be going back and forth. So I had to get those all dug up and moved, stored for the winter. So I did that as well. And then at the very end, I walk you through kind of the actual physical space after the excavator has gone and everything is flattened, and it looks a little sad, quite honestly. But so I walk you around the space, kind of show you what it will look like. It's a little hard to see when you aren't actually standing in the space. But then after that, we are actually going to come back here, and I use this great garden planner from Territorial Seed Company. And it actually has the full layout, where the beds are all going, where the high tunnel is going to be, where the chicken coop is moving to. So we will walk through that, and you'll be able to get a good idea of hopefully what it's going to look like next year. All right, so let's get started. The other exciting development that is happening right now, you will get a very brief glimpse of David, kind of. He is starting to take down all of the fencing that we need to get rid of. And it just looks so much more open. Yeah, we have the truck out here because we brought a bunch of stuff out, but I love it. And these middle ones he just hasn't done yet, but that's all that's left. So the whole perimeter one is all gone. And then the other cool one is I've always had to walk all the way around the chicken coop because there was a fence right here. And now I can just walk straight through here to the gate. It's amazing. I'm very excited about this. I need to move all this brush and stuff, but that will be very nice to have that. This is the day that we are moving all of our beds. And we started out, there was a whole bunch of hog wire on the pipe fencing, and David had taken it all off and just stacked it under there. So we're just moving that out of the way because we're going to put all of the beds into the loafing shed. So David really does not want to be in my videos, so he is mostly blurred out for these. But I wanted to show you guys the kind of the process. So it ended up being way easier than we expected. We didn't even have to dig around the beds at all. They didn't have bottoms on them, clearly, so we could just lift them off of the dirt and move them. And they're fairly light because they're made of that metal. And yeah, so they were pretty easy. it was dirty, messy work, but we got it done pretty quickly, which was great.
Okay? Yeah. Not that heavy.
I'm absolutely covered in dirt because, well, moving the beds, which you saw, and I just planted the garlic, so I'm covered in dirt. Sorry about that. Anyway, I did just want to give you, like you saw, we moved all of the garden beds into our loafing shed for the winter. We actually have had somebody come out yesterday and give us a quote to dig some trenches and put in some new water lines. It's always been a pain that the water spigot is like in the middle of the garden. Like it's not in a good spot at all. Sorry. Oh, there it is. Yeah, no, there it is. And I mean, that is like, it's hard to tell. Well, you know what? Let's just take a walk over there. So it was right in the middle of the beds and it made it hard to get around the bed. And then here, yes, I have tomatoes hanging on it. You know, this is another, like, I don't know, 4 feet to the fence. So it's just kind of sitting here in the middle of everything. And this is all going to change completely. So the plan is to trench from here and go, I think we're putting it at the corner of, no, sorry. We're putting it all the way at the back fence. So it'll come out here and do a little jag and go to the back fence. And then we're gonna have a second one. So basically we're just gonna cap this one off. The second one is gonna go to the fence here and go along back behind the chicken coop and the greenhouse and end up right where the gate currently is. That gate is going to move eventually. I'm not sure if it will for next year's garden, but yeah, that's where the second spigot will be. So basically I'll have spigots in both corners. So I don't have to have like a 200-foot hose to reach to this end of the garden if I needed to. I plan to have irrigation again, but like this summer I did have to hand water quite a bit. So if I need to do that again, then I don't want to be dragging hoses hundreds of feet. But yeah, so this is what it looks like now, just a bunch of big piles of dirt. Hey guys, so another quick update on our big garden project. The excavator actually texted me yesterday and was like, I can come tomorrow. I was like, oh wait, we're not ready for you. We had to move all of the beds, which most of that was done. We just had the garlic bed left to move or get out of the way. And then, but we also still need to move the high tunnel here out of the way because he is going to be excavating all behind here and he can't reach. We don't have to move the chicken coop. He can reach around the chicken coop, but not both of them. And we have a water spigot going right here. So he needs to be able to dig along the fence line. So that needs to move. David actually came in this morning and pulled all of the big tomato plants out of here so it's easier to move. We're just gonna push it forward just so it's out of the way. So it's not a huge thing. But actually we are planning to dismantle it at some point because we're going to be building an entirely new one. Not sure yet what it's gonna look like, but it will be bigger for sure, longer and wider. So right now, what I need to do is, David pretty much did all of the hard work. He pulled up all of, or most of the landscape fabric that was in the way. But I I forgot that I would need to pull up all of my irrigation along the fence line that was there for the tomatoes. So I need to get that done. And then all of the strawberries that are here, this is where the garlic bed was, they all need to come up as well. I really was hoping we'd get a couple more frosts so they'd be fully dormant, but we're just gonna have to risk it. And they're more likely to survive me digging them up and moving them right now than they are being trampled by an excavator. So I feel like it's better to move them. Yeah, and I think, and then the last thing we need to do down here is we have the hardware mesh underneath where all of these beds were. And David moved a lot of the dirt and stuff that was there, but he couldn't get the mesh up by himself because there's still too much dirt there. So we still need to do that, mostly just because we don't want it to get ground into the ground by the excavator. Now I think I'm not saying it right. Anyway, so right now I am going to get started on the irrigation, and then because that should be quick, and then I'll get the strawberries up. Oh, and I want to get my 2 little lavender plants there dug up and moved as well. All right. Oh, and funny, you'd never guess it. We actually had our first snow this morning, and everything was white when we woke up, but it's beautiful now. Still pretty chilly. I think it's maybe only 35, but it's nice and sunny, which is perfect. All right, I'm gonna get started. So we're back behind the greenhouse at the moment, and this is the irrigation that went into the greenhouse, just went underneath. So all I'm doing is, these are kind of like quick lock elbows on this. And so I'm just gonna try and I need to get this off of this elbow. And the best way to do that, especially with temperatures as they are right now, is a nice little heat gun. Almost there. All right, so this one I'll just pull through from the other side, and then we just need to pull this guy up and out of the way. Actually, I lied. I have another one. This is the one that goes to along the chicken coop that's hooked into the same line. This line is the one that also went to the tomatoes along the fence. The reason these are so hard, I'll show you once I get this one off, is it does, even with the little screw on thing, there's still a barb in there. Oh, there we go. So yeah, let me show you. See that little guy, that little bump right there that it goes over? And then that screws on top of it. But that's what makes them so difficult to get out. Stuff is not gonna roll right now. Too cold. strawberries are actually fairly easy to get up. You know, definitely some of them, I think I didn't get enough of their roots. So I'm not sure how well they'll survive, but I'm just gonna fill in the rest of this with some dirt, and we'll see how they do. I'm actually going to leave them outside and just cover them with a big thing of straw, because I mean that's what you would do anyway outside. And I'll probably put them in the loafing shed just to give them a little extra protection. And I'm also thinking I might go cut all of these off. But I mean, we're gonna get really cold the next couple of nights, like down into low 20s and even high teens. So I really don't think that they're gonna have any issues. So I think I'll just, yeah, put them in the loafing shed and cover them with straw and let them be. The excavator is here to start digging our water trenches. It's very exciting. Here he goes. Digging has started. Holy cow, that's deep. He did say 6 feet. Apparently here in Idaho, it's required to do 5 feet, but he prefers to do 6. So, yeah, wow, deep. Rockier soil than I was expecting. It must be that way as you get deeper. A closer look at how deep this is. It would definitely be over my head. It's crazy, and he's done this in like, I don't know, not even half an hour. It's amazing. It's pretty cool, guys. Start of the new garden. This is like the first big project. So, very exciting. So just to give you kind of an idea, our first new spigot is going to be right here, which is right by the original gate that we have here. This gate is going to go away, but this was just kind of the easiest spot to decide to put the new spigot that's going to be on this side of the garden. So to give you a little bit more perspective, there's the chicken coop, hoop house, and then the next one is going to go from that spigot there is going to go away, and he's going to dig a hole straight across here over to that corner, and this next one will be over there. So yeah. Oh, I can't wait to show you guys the whole garden plan. It's almost done. Unfortunately did run into a little bit of a hiccup. Apparently the spigot that was right here, which is now gone, was actually connected to our sprinkler system, so it wasn't buried deep enough. So we went ahead, and the only weird thing is that the water was still running, except that our sprinkler system is completely turned off. Like the water to it is turned off, so it shouldn't have been getting water. Anyway, so we're not quite sure what's going on, but we decided to just go ahead and do it, and we'll just have to pay attention to if, you know, we get really cold temperatures, probably we shouldn't be turning on the water out here. But, you know, it didn't freeze last year, and we got down to negative 24. So hopefully it's not going to be an issue. But yeah, so they are actually filling in the dirt now, which is amazing. Super fast. shockingly, he had told us, the excavator had told us that it was going to take a day and a half to get it done. He was here for maybe 6 hours, 4 hours, probably more like 4 hours. So super fast, and bonus, it cost almost half of what he quoted us. So that's awesome. Yeah, so I'm going to give you a quick sweep around and show you what it looks like now. Right, so as you saw yesterday, they dug a trench from where the new spigot is here, and it came out to here and then went through, and then it split off to go connect to the old spigot and to the new spigot. So there was a trench kind of diagonally across here as well. And they finished super fast, which is amazing. I already said that, I think. And yeah, so we definitely, like, there were 4 beds here that we still hadn't pulled any dirt off of. So obviously we lost all of that. It's now just mixed into our native soil, which is fine. But we will be able to salvage the dirt from those. And David had salvaged a lot of the dirt from the 3 that were right here already. So that was good. And actually it looks like we can still get quite a bit of that stuff over there. But the last things for us to do this fall are, well, I need to fill in this hole because David dug a hole here to try and find the electric line, because we have electricity for the chicken coop. And yeah, I don't think, it's kind of partially covered up now. Yeah, whoever built this house, it's seriously, they just did some really weird, odd, not to code things. So one of them was this wire that's down here is literally just wire. It's not in conduit, which it should be. So yeah. And then of course, like I said, yesterday, this spigot was not buried very deep. In fact, you can see it was only buried to, like maybe right there. So that's like 2 feet, 2.5 feet, which is not deep enough at all. It needs to really be 5 feet to not freeze, but we didn't have any problems with it last winter. And we had probably well over 2 months where it never got above freezing, and we had negative temperatures at night. So the ground was definitely frozen solid hard. And we didn't have any issues, but we also weren't using water out here last year because the chickens weren't here and there was just no need. But it never broke. So I don't know. And again, he told us that it was connected to our sprinkler system, which again is just weird. I don't know why they would do that. But our sprinkler system is completely shut off. So there shouldn't be any water able to come out of it. And these have water coming out of them. So yeah, we might end up having to have another trench dug across our lawn to get to the well. But we're hoping not. Anyway, so back to what I was saying. Need to fill in this hole. And I need to take the plastic off of the hoop house because we will be dismantling it. We probably won't dismantle it until spring. There's no reason to do it right now, but it is no longer on its anchor points. We had it on rebar stakes down here, and we had to move it because originally we thought the excavator was going to come through here. But since the electric ended up being right here, he said he needed to go around. So we didn't have to move it, but we already did. And if we leave the plastic on, we get super high winds here, and pretty sure it would fly away. So not going to try and salvage all the stuff that's on the front and the back. But David has taken off all the furring strips that was holding it. Oh, it looks like he didn't get the window one, but that's fine. But I am gonna try and salvage like the piece that goes all the way over the top. So that's what I am going to do right now. But first, let me give you an idea of what our new garden is going to look like. And I'm going to show you the plan that I have on my computer that's actually a garden planning program, which is amazing, you guys. If you've never used one, this one's pretty cool. Okay, so let me turn you around again. Basically, from where the spigot is now, the fence will be just right to this side of it, and it's going to come all the way out. So that fence post of the gate is 80 feet from the very back corner over there, 80 feet, and we are actually going to come out to 102 feet, which I think is like this post here, maybe this post. But just to give you perspective, this is how big the garden is going to be. And we will have the new hoop house. It's going to sit out in this area here, be a part of the garden this time. The coop is going to just get dismantled. It's pretty poorly built as well. The run is actually really solid, but the coop is not. And we are going to put the new one back in between the loafing shed and the little barn. Barn will stay where it is, but then from here, it'll go all the way to the back fence and then all the way over. So yeah, this whole thing all the way to where I'm standing is going to be garden. I am ridiculously excited about it. But for the winter, there's not really anything else to do. I mean, I guess we could, but we intend to buy a tractor, and since we could easily wait to do the work in the spring, why put out the money right now? So we're gonna wait and keep our eyes out for possibly a used one that's not quite so expensive. But this hoop house is the last thing that we need to get done. Oh, wait, I do want to show you one other thing. Okay, so told you the barn's not moving, which it's not. And originally I was gonna have David build me a potting bench just kind of right in the middle there, and then with a bed on either side. But the window's really in an awkward place. Like, I don't know why they didn't put it in the middle. And it's not a great window. So David actually had the idea, why don't we build like a little 4-foot deck that comes out and put the door where the window is. Silly to not use that framing that's already there. So put the door there, and we'd still have the doors that are on the front. We just wouldn't probably use them quite as often unless we needed to get something big in there. So, and then what we'll probably do is put like posts on the ends at the edges of the deck, and just put shade cloth up in the summer that's easy to take down, because we don't really want to build like an actual roof that could handle snow in the winter, because it not only would have to handle snow, but it would have to handle the snow coming off the top of the shed as well. So that's exciting. And then what I am planning to do inside the shed is I'm actually going to make that into my grow room. Right now it's down in our basement. It's pretty cramped. I really could use the space for canned goods and freeze-dried goods. So we are going to insulate this, because right now it is not insulated. It's going to be quite a project, because it actually has plywood on the sides. I don't know if you'll remember, but yeah, so it has plywood all the way up to where the ceiling starts. So we'll have to take all of this plywood off to insulate it, but then we will insulate it. I'm going to have David put in a window on this side as well, because this is the southern exposure. So that way I would get light from it. And then obviously we'll need to bring power out here, because I'll have to heat it for sure. and then for grow lights and a fan and that sort of stuff. But yeah, I'm really actually super excited about that as well. So that project is actually going to happen this winter. We'll probably this fall and winter. We have a couple trips coming up and Thanksgiving, but after Thanksgiving, I think my plan is to get the installation done on this. So yeah, that is the exciting news and exciting plans that are coming up. And like I said, I will show you the actual, like how many beds and where they're going to go and where the coop goes, so you kind of get an overview of what it's going to look like. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of work, but this is why David is retired, because he can do this stuff now. All right, so I'll see you again when we look at the garden plan. All right, guys, here we are to do the kind of overhead view of what the garden is going to look like in 2024. So like I mentioned, I use Territorial Seed Company's garden planner. I've tried a lot of the other kind of free ones out there, and they don't even hold a candle to this garden planner. This one is amazing. There's a fee. I think it's around $30 a year. So it's not that expensive. And to me, it's completely worth it. I absolutely love using it. All right. So I will go into more detail about kind of the actual garden planner, but for now, let's look at gardens. So this is last year's garden, or this season's garden, just so you guys can get kind of an overview, feel what it was and what it's going to be. So to orient you, the little barn is here, the big loafing shed over here. This is where the potatoes were, squash. This is where the chicken coop is, and the hoop house. And currently the gate is right here. And then looks over the fence to the lawn. This is where all the tomatoes were last year, there and down here. And then this was where all of the big red pipe fencing was. It had 3 paddocks here all fenced in. And then it came around like this, around the chicken coop, all the way to the fence. So all of that is gone now. And this is what, no, I don't need a new plan. Next year's garden is going to look like. All right, here we go. So again, orient you, same orientation as the last one. This is where the barn is, not moving. This is where the loafing shed is. And right around here is where the chicken coop currently is. Like I said, going to be torn down. We'll be building a new run and coop here, both of which will be slightly larger than they currently are. But we also are going to fence this entire garden area so that when I'm in the garden, I can actually let the girls out to free range with me. I think that would be fun to have them in the garden with me, unless they start decimating it, then maybe not. We'll see. I'd only have them out when I was out. I'm too much of a worrywart to just let them free range all the time. But it will be fenced, so they can only be in this area. But will be the new coop. The only other thing that is not moving are the raspberries, which are still here, and the rhubarb, which is still here. Otherwise, everything else is completely different. All right, and then to orient you again, this is where one of the new spigots is. This is where the other one is. And so the current gate is right in this area here. So the old garden, it was the same width this way, so about 50 feet wide. And just because we didn't want to since we're not moving the loafing shed, we didn't want to try and do weird fencing around it. So we just left it the same width, but extended it from about 40 feet long to 102 feet long. So significantly longer. One of the big reasons for that is, first of all, we are going to be including the coop house, which also is going to be much larger. Last year, it was about 8 by 8 feet, and this next year, it will be
20 feet long and somewhere between 14 and 16 feet wide. Still working that out. But it will be actually incorporated into the garden this year, more than it was last year. So that's one of the reasons. And then I last year only left 2 feet, which would be just this little space right here, between the beds. And this year I am leaving 4 because 2 just really wasn't enough. It was very crowded. And I want to do arches over with the cattle panels over the 4 beds, and with only 2 feet um, between them, it just would have looked ridiculous. Um, so that's that. As you can see, we have 12 of the 4 by 8 foot beds. Um, I know this is 4 feet 3 inches, 8 feet 3 inches. So they're not exact, but you get the idea. Um, and so right now we have 9 of them built, so we need to build 3 more. Then these beds are going to be made out of some kind of stone or brick, probably only be about a foot high. As you'll recall, these are around 24 inches tall, so these will just be 12 inches tall. And yeah, some kind of brick or stone, just to kind of give a different texture to the garden. So we'll have 4 of those. And then we will have this will be the main gate into the garden. So you'll have this nice kind of view through the arches, and then there'll be another arbor and gate into the rest of the pasture area. This is probably just going to be a simple gate, probably the one that's currently here. We'll just get moved down here. But that will go into this kind of walkway to the hoop house and then into the garden here. Let's see, and then another gate back here to get to behind the loafing shed. So I'll put my one of these compost bins here, and of course this is where we just planted our garlic a few weeks ago. So that will be there. This is the little deck that we are planning to build off of the barn, like I talked about. The door will be right here, so facing the garden, which will just be nice. Like I said, we'll leave the doors that are at this end, but I think we'll end up using this one more regularly. Potting bench here, maybe some little beds here, step down. And then all of these are going to be raised beds as well. They'll be 2 feet wide and probably again just 12 inches tall. And then we'll have a nice pergola in the middle. This might be bigger, smaller, not sure yet, but someplace where you can have some chairs and a table, someplace to sit and relax and enjoy the garden under some shade. Yeah, so that's basically what the new garden is going to look like. And this is basically my dream garden. I'm so excited. I'm excited to have the coop be still very much a part of it. So the girls are here while I'm working in the garden. Like I said, having the hoop house more integrated into it. The little pergola, like just all of this I'm so excited about it. But let me talk a little bit also about this garden planner because it is amazing. So like you saw, you can have multiple plans. So you can do a new plan, create a new plan, and you can have metric if you are a metric person. You can actually create a plan from the previous year. So basically what it does, it will copy, you choose which one. So like if I wanted to copy this one, it'll copy basically whatever you want. So you can leave all the plants where they are, or you can just have perennials, or you can have no plants at all, just the structures. You can have your notes, like you can have all of that stuff can be the same, which is amazing. And that's also really great for crop rotation because it will tell you, like in this bed next year, if I forgot that I planted tomatoes there and I go to plant spurs in this bed, it will tell me, no, you shouldn't do that because it's also a nightshade and that it needs to be rotated somewhere else. So that's another great thing that this garden planner does. And then over here you can see it has plants and it has pretty much any plant, tree, bush that you might want. And if it doesn't, you can, like it has flower here somewhere. Well, you can do a search. So yeah, you can just, it has kind of generic things. And so oops, I always forget that. Just click it, come over here, and then you can double click into it and you can label it whatever you want. You can figure out like, yeah, if you want to do it's hyssop and it doesn't have that one, you can put that, or you can make your own variety. So that's really nice. And you can put your planting times in, you know, when you sow and when you harvest. Speaking of these things, let's go to a plant that actually is real. Oops. So let's say we are going to go into celery. So just double click here and you can put variety in. If we go to like carrots, it has like all of the kind of common varieties that you might be planting. So it's just super nice. So if we go back here, so the first thing it does is, like I said, you can choose the variety, you can label it, and it will also tell you when you should start seeds indoors, which this does not seem right to me because that should be like in January, February. Anyway, but this is based off of my zone. So that's something that you put into the plan when you're first building, when you first get into the planner. You tell it what zone you're in. And we are, just so you guys know, in zone 5B. It did not change with the new USDA zone map that they just put out. We are still in 5B, which means that our first frost date is typically September 15th, and our last frost date is typically May 15th. Although all of the like old timers around here say do not plant any of your frost tender plants until after Memorial Day, which would be June 1st. So yeah, that is something that I also try to follow so that I don't have a late frost that kills everything. But yeah, so anyway, very interesting. You put notes in here, and then it actually even goes into further detail about kind of soil, what kind of shade, is it frost tolerant? Like all of this stuff is in here. What are companion plantings? I mean, just it has all this great information. And then if you want to, you can go into your journal history and see if you had any history for celery. I'll show you the journal in a second. That would be here for 2023, or go back as far as you want and you could see it. I've never used this, so I don't have any of that kind of history, but also any notes that you had for this variety of celery would be in here. So that's also very cool. If you want to do square foot gardening, you just turn this little guy on. And what that does, for that, you just click on a plant and bring it in here. And it tells you you can plant 9 alyssum plants in a square foot, which is pretty cool. And like, let's see, basil. Oh my goodness, keep doing that. You can put 4 basil plants in a square foot. So just super nice, especially if you're new to square foot gardening. So you can kind of tell how many plants you're going to have of each variety. And I did do that last year in my beds. So if we get in close, you can see that I did these, but you have to place them one by one. And it's kind of a pain when you're doing this large of a space. So I am not using it. So my plant numbers won't be quite accurate, but that's okay. They'll be close enough. So yeah, all the plants are here. Then you can go, once you have everything laid out, and I know I have stuff in here. I was just playing, so this is not going to be what is in these beds. I'm somewhat probably, but especially the actual garden beds here in the middle, it has not been decided yet. Not entirely. But you can go here to your plant list, and it has everything that you have put in your plan. And like I put in 2 different kinds of carrot varieties, and it will show you're going to have 66 of the dragon and 66 of the Merida. Tells you all your planting times and sowing indoors, outdoors, harvesting time. Again, based on your zone. So yeah, just it has all of that in here. So other than plants, it also has garden objects, like the arbor. Just click it, you can make it as big, small as you want, move it around. And it's got just tons of stuff for that. And one of them, so like all of our fencing that we have all the way around this, go to this list, and it tells us we have 278 feet, 8 inches of fencing planned. So now we can figure out how much wood we need to get to build said fencing. That's a lot of fence. Anyway, and then this, you can just put notes in here of any kind. But yeah, so again, just super easy. And then if you want to draw your own things, you can text in all of that. Then the journal, like I said, I've never used this, but you can get super specific. So it talks to put your weather in there. Because so actually when you put in, you don't put in your zone, you put in where you live. So this is actually showing my weather. And for today, no, it's not today. What is today? Today is Tuesday. There. I was gonna say a lot colder than that. You can go in here, you can add notes. If I did a bunch of planting today, like let's say I put in my beans. Yeah, pole beans. Okay. I planted pole beans and I planted 60 of them. If I did it as plants or seeds, amazing. And then next year, I like when I showed you the notes, you can go in and you can see, oh, okay, when did I plant my pole beans? Oh, it'll just show you that date. So amazing little thing here. I want to get rid of this. To screw things up. But yeah, so I definitely do want to try and use this next year, especially kind of as I start doing my seed starting in here. So I just kind of keep track of when I planted things and next year if I want to make changes. All right, let's go back to the planner. And yeah, that's basically it. I definitely, like I said, I highly, highly recommend this planner. It's just, it really makes things so much easier.
So that is that for our garden plan project extravaganza that is going to be happening. Like I said, we are going to be doing the shed here. Actually, I think we might try and get some of that done this weekend. This is Thanksgiving weekend here coming up this week. And so we'll have some extra time to do that. And yeah, the rest of it will basically be in the spring, which of course we will bring you along with that as well. All right, I hope you enjoyed this and are as excited as I am for next year's garden. And we'll see you later. Have a great day, guys. Bye.